He's distinguished himself already in this short period of time as being an articulate defender of freedom and our rich Judeo-Christian heritage. He's also written a book entitled God in Our Government. Representative Saccone, thanks for being with us today on the Conservative Commander Radio Show.
Oh, it's my pleasure. Thank you for having me.
Well, I tell you, we're privileged to have you on, and I want you specifically here today to tell our listening audience what you are doing with House Bill 1728. You're the prime sponsor of that bill, and I'll just put out there for those who are listening, this legislation, if passed by the House and the Senate and signed by the governor, would require that all public school classrooms and other areas in Pennsylvania within this public school setting display a copy of the national motto, "In God We Trust." Now, first of all, Representative Saccone, I'd like to ask you why you think posting a display of the national motto, "In God We Trust," is worth passing a law to require it, when obviously there are some folks who are going to oppose it.
Yeah, well, there's a couple of reasons. This is a great Pennsylvania history story. We're coming up on the 150th anniversary of "In God We Trust" on our coins, and the way "In God We Trust" came about and became our national motto from where it first appeared on our coins is a real Pennsylvania history story, I think, worth teaching our children, and it is also a great positive influence, a positive moral influence for them to see and emulate. So the story basically is our 13th governor, James Pollock. Before he was governor, he was a U.S. congressman, and as a freshman congressman, he had the good fortune to take a room with another freshman congressman by the name of Abraham Lincoln, and they became great friends. When Lincoln became president, he appointed Pollock as the director of the U.S. Mint, and Pollock, a Pennsylvanian, is the one that suggested we put "In God We Trust" on our coins, and it was approved by the Treasury and the Congress and Lincoln in 1864, and it's been on there ever since. And so we're coming up on that 150th anniversary. We want to celebrate the fact that this phrase has been on our coins and later all of our currency, and then became our national motto in 1956. It's been since reaffirmed by President Kennedy and presidents beyond that, and most recently our Congress in 2011 overwhelmingly, near unanimously approved it again as our national motto. So it's a real great story. It has Pennsylvania written all over it. This phrase also, during the Civil War, the 125th Regiment over in Huntington County, Pennsylvania, had their battle flag was "In God We Trust." So "In God We Trust" is a phrase that has deep Pennsylvania roots, and I think it's worthy of our children and our celebrating that in their schools.
Representative Saccone, that's great history. I would imagine that most who are listening had no idea of that. So it's very rich. It goes back a long way. Now, I know that there are some folks who I have heard say, well, you know what, that motto didn't become official until this last century, and it was really added because we were trying to strike a distinction between the rise of communist countries, Russia and Red China and so forth, and therefore it really wasn't so much that it really meant anything as much as it was just drawn as a distinction. Well, that may or may not. However, it had nothing to do with being put on coins way back 150 years ago. Do you know of is there a specific reason that perhaps that was actually put forward at that point? Was there something ever written or stated that was the justification for why that was done?
Absolutely. James Pollock spoke about it. And in the times, we're going through the Civil War, and whenever we've been in hard times, our country has turned to God, and we just reaffirm our relationship with God. And so during those times also, they wanted to reaffirm in a positive, concrete sense that this country depended on God, and so they decided to put that on the coin. So our country was founded on Judeo-Christian principles, and I've written a book on that, as you said, and you can trace that throughout our entire history. And this is just a celebration of that history and that spiritual heritage that we have.
Well, excellent. Let me ask a question. Who has shown up so far, group-wise, or what mentality is it out there that would say we shouldn't do this and this is a bad idea? Anybody kind of put their head up so far that is going to be opposition to this?
Well, the same figures you would expect. The ACLU is against it. the Freedom from Religion Foundation is against it, and in committee, 8 of my Democratic colleagues voted against it. So, there's going to be people that are going to say, for whatever reason, they're against introducing God in front of our children. It amazes me that one argument was that to have such a phrase in a school could traumatize our children. And my argument was, okay, I've been to schools lately. I was there over Halloween. We've got witches on brooms. We've got zombies. We've got Dracula with blood dripping from his teeth on the walls. That doesn't seem to traumatize our kids, but our national motto would. I mean, it's ludicrous that that anyone could think we have a national motto that is unfit to put before our children.
Isn't that something? We just had a guest on earlier in the program. We're talking about Islam and its effect down in Florida. There are public school textbooks that mention everything about Islam and how it's good for America, good for the world, but it completely cuts out Christianity, Judeo-Christian thought. And what the ACLU has no problem with that. So very clearly, we got an issue here with the whole thing of cutting out, in this case, not just God, but it's actually history. These are part of our roots, are they not?
That's right. They absolutely are. And this has already been taken up in 2011, the Newdow case, Under God in the Pledge and In God We Trust, challenged as being on our currency. Remember, it's all over all our currency and has been now for 150 years. And the Ninth Circuit Court of Appeals, which is one of the most liberal appeals courts in the nation, ruled that no, this is a general phrase that does not violate this Establishment Clause. It can be embraced by all, and so there should be no problem putting this up anywhere, since it's already on our currency and it's already well accepted in our country.
Excellent. Representative Saccone, can you hang on for just a couple minutes and just go just a little bit more with us here?
Sure. Be happy to.
Folks, we're going to come back with it. We're listening and talking with Representative Rick Saccone relative to his legislation, House Bill 1728, that will require the posting of In God We Trust, our national motto. Stay tuned, and we'll be right back in just a minute. You're having a press conference tomorrow in Harrisburg to advance this bill. What are you hoping to accomplish, and when's that going to take place for folks who are listening who may want to know about that?
Yeah, that's 10 o'clock in the rotunda, the lower rotunda, east wing rotunda down by the escalators. We're hoping to have a great turnout of people to come and support and show the legislators up here that there is definitely public support for this bill. Everywhere I go and speak across the state, and the interviews I do across radio and television across the state, outpouring of support. Now, the press editorial boards, again, likely suspects that are against it, but I'm just telling you, the faith-hating media can put out all they want against this. Everywhere I go, the people support it. So I'm hoping they'll show up tomorrow, show their support, go talk to their legislators while they're here, ask them to support the bill, and hopefully we'll bring it up for a vote and get it over to the Senate.
Well, that's great. I know one of our board members from the Pennsylvania Pastors Network is going to be there as a part of the presentation, and we're very glad to assist on that. One last question, then you can take off. Where can our listeners go in order to find out more about this legislation, what they can do to help if they have interest in it, and I think they should, and so where should they go to find out more or to follow you and or particularly this piece of legislation, House Bill 1728?
Yeah, they can go to my webpage, www.repsaccone.com, and they'll be able to find out more about it, or they can just Google Pennsylvania House Bill 1728. It'll pull up the bill and the background information on it. I also have a really nice video clip on my webpage that explains the background and the history of it. It's short, but it's very powerful, and so I hope they'll go to that. I just hope people remember even when they come to the Capitol tomorrow, as you're walking up those front steps, the first thing you're going to see to the left at the bottom of the steps out by the road is ingrained, chiseled in the stone out there is In God We Trust. So, every time people come into this Capitol, they see that. Thousands of kids that come in there see that, and we need to display that motto. It's over the Speaker's chair in the U.S. Capitol. It's in the Senate in the U.S. Senate. It's on all our currency. We need to honor and celebrate the 150 years that phrase has been with us.
Absolutely. Thanks so much. Representative Saccone, thanks for being with us today on the Conservative Command Radio Show. God bless you as you go forward. I hope you have a great turnout, and anything we can do to assist along the way as the bill moves forward, Is it scheduled at this point for consideration in the House? Or give me an indication of when that may be.
It is not scheduled yet. I'm hoping after the rally tomorrow that we'll get a definite date for it to appear.
All right, excellent. Anything we can further do, we would like to do it. So, Representative
Yes,
Saccone,
please tell all your listeners to contact their legislators, their state representatives, and ask them to support the bill. Ask them nicely, ask them with love, in the spirit of Jesus Christ, but ask them to support this legislation and to stand up for it boldly.
Thanks so much. Representative Rick Saccone, 39th District, prime sponsor, House Bill 1728. That would require the posting of our national motto, "In God We Trust," on our public school classrooms. What a great thing that would be. Thanks for being with us today.
Thank you.